Good evening and welcome out to tonight's tackle trading onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank. I'll be taking you through the tackle trading website this evening, showing you around a little bit, letting you know kind of who we are, what we're doing, when we're doing it, where you can find it. So hopefully you can get to know us a little bit better. Let's dive right into it. I mean, at the heart of it, we're at tackle trading. We're just a community of traders that have come together, bounce ideas off of one another, share ideas, help each other out, have each other's back. I mean, really at the heart of it, that's exactly, what we do here at Tackle Trading. However, it's a little easier to explain it when I kind of break it down into a few different parts. And that's kind of how we will go about it this evening. I like to break it down into three core areas. The things that you do on your own, that would be things like courses and our blogs and our trade journals and some of the tools that you'll find over in our trade center. Then the things that you do with others, basically the schedule. We're meeting with our team in a variety of ways throughout the market week. And lastly, our weekend reports where we can share thoughts on the market as well as watch list candidates going into the upcoming weeks. We are ready to rock and roll when the whole new week starts. So that'll kind of be the angle that we come at it here this evening. Let's kind of start with that first basket there and kind of things that you can do on your own. Let's start with the courses. We do have a variety of courses that we offer all of our pro members. The 7-step guide to trading, we actually offer to everyone. And this is kind of if you're new to trading, this is probably a really good place to start, or relatively new to trading. It kind of will walk you through the tackle trading approach to trading the markets, right? From starting at the top of the market and how do we choose our strategy? How do we find our trades, prepping those trades, placing them, managing them, journaling them. If you're a new trader in particular, you typically put in a lot of hours, but it's not always the most efficient use of one's time. I hope that's not the case, but a lot of times it is, and that's okay. This should give you a little bit more structure from that perspective. If you're a veteran trader, I would say a lot of this would probably be a bit of a review for you, but there's probably one or two things in there that can maybe enhance your existing routine as well. So that is the 7-step guide to trading course. As traders, we're going to do a lot of charting, right? And that's true regardless of what kind of trader you are, right? Are you a day trader, swing trader, crypto trader, options trader? Whatever kind of trader you are, you're going to be using technical analysis, of course. And, that's a big key component of all of our decision making, right? So over the technical analysis course, going to talk charts, going to talk support, resistance, trend, momentum, patterns, all of that good stuff that we really need to understand from a trading point of view, regardless of the vehicles that we like to trade. We're big fans of options here at Tackle Trading. Over in the Options 101 course, really going to focus more on the contract and kind of why it does the things that it does, the Greeks, liquidity, all of that fun stuff. Well, not a whole lot on the different strategies. I'll show you where you can find those here in a moment. But really, the more we understand the contract and why it's doing what it's doing, I think the easier any of the different strategies we're employing are going to be for us. If you've ever been interested in learning more about futures or Forex and been interested in taking a closer look at either or both of those markets, we offer introduction courses into those areas as well. I know not everybody wants to trade those markets, and that's perfectly fine if you don't, but it's also perfectly fine if you do, right? And we just need to understand a few things that's going on if we are going to trade over in those markets. Regardless of what we like to trade, we all need to have very clearly designed systems and rules in place. That'll just make our trading process a whole lot more efficient and, in my opinion, much, much better. So the system development course is one of those courses that, regardless of how long you've been doing this, regardless of what time frames you like to trade, regardless of what products you like to trade, I would definitely make some time to work through that course. I think you'll get a lot of good information and hopefully be able to apply it. I think we all know it's important to have rules, but it's one thing to say, yeah, we need trading rules. It's another thing to have those in place. Can't recommend this course enough. I think you'll really enjoy this one. You'll also notice we have a handful of premium systems here. What these are they're fully fleshed out systems. The Tackle 25 is a covered call based system on a select group of stocks that we put together each year with the intent of cash flowing via selling covered calls. Step system is our approach to swing trading the markets, just stands for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Cash flow condors is another cash flowing system, this time on the Russell 2000, and the Bear Market Survival Guide, kind of exactly what it sounds like, right? Dealing with those turns into bearish market conditions and navigating through them, especially from a bit of a longer term perspective. Each of these systems is a standalone product. It's a one-time purchase. The system is yours for life. We get together each month with members of those team in a mastermind group. If you would like more information on any or all of them, you can easily find it over in the store tab, or feel free to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com, and we'll be happy to get you any information that you need in that regard. In addition to our courses, we do regular blog content, both in written and video format, whether it's more charting in the Tales of Technician blog, more options in the Option Theory blog, taking concepts kind of from the ground up over in the Rookie Corner blog, hearing from our awesome female trading community in the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be, relatively short reads, short watches, right? But they're ways that, we can address things with our team, answer questions, identify things that are standing out to us. Just another way to reach out and share ideas with our community. Over in the Trade Center tab, you'll find a few things. You'll find a link to our clubhouse, our glossary, a link to our trading journals, which we'll talk about here shortly, as well as a link to the Tackle Trading Playbook. This is where you're going to find all of our strategies. So we'll let this page come up. There we go. We break our strategies into three core areas based off of the option Greeks: Delta, Theta, and Vega. Our Delta playbook, or directional playbook, hey, I think this stock's going from 50 to 60, from 100 to 90, from 22 to 25, right? I think it's going from point A to point B, right? So of course that's going to be, include buying or selling stock, right? That's always going to be an option for us. But that would also include, buying call options, or buying put options to kind of replace the stock, doing debit spreads, doing diagonal spreads, but basically movement-based strategies. And then you're going to have the Theta playbook, or the cash flow playbook. I mean, the cool thing about options is we can sell them, right? And we can bring in that premium and take advantage of cash flow. So that would be selling covered calls on shares that we own, or selling naked puts to get into stocks that we would like to own, or doing credit spreads, or locking thing in a range with an iron condor. Basically theta-based strategies, time-based strategies. And then lastly, the Vega or volatility playbook, where we're playing our expectations of volatility. To my mind, that's usually that's earnings, right? When you get into earnings season in January, in April, in July, in October, where these companies report earnings, and sometimes it's a huge move, right? And some of these companies have a pretty good history of moving, substantially one way or the other on their earnings. And I might want to play into that history. So that would be straddles and strangles and things of that nature. In all of these, there'll be a detailed video going through the whole thing. What is the strategy? What's its place? Why would we choose it, right? How would we build it? What does our risk to reward look like? What are our rules for the strategy? How much time are we buying or selling? What's our delta rule, etc. There's also a little downloadable PDF, so you can have easy access to those rules if you need them. What was I supposed to sell on a covered call? What was my delta rule? Very easy to reference in that PDF. You'll also notice on all of them, there's anywhere from a 0 to a plus or a -3. And this is just kind of where we see it along the lines of, if 0 were to be flat neutral, right? Flat neutral on the stock or on the market or on the sector or on the commodity, whatever it might be, that would be a 0. If I'm slightly bullish or slightly bearish, that would be a plus or a -1. If I'm bullish or bearish, that'd be a plus or a -2. And if I'm very or aggressively bullish or very or aggressively bearish, that would be a plus or a -3. We always do want to match the strategy to the situation, right? And at least our read of the situation. And so this is just kind of where we see these strategies, kind of fitting in along those lines. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook. If you go directly into the Trade Center, this will bring you kind of to a What's Up at Tackle Trading page. What's the next show, most recent posts, a little bit of a most recent tweet, a little watch list that you can build out for yourself if you'd like to do so. Very easy to use. Say you wanted to add ConocoPhillips to your watch list, just throw the symbol in there. I'm going to hit this plus button. That's going to now add this. It'll be here when I come back. If I no longer am interested in having Spotify in this watch list, I can just hit this little minus and that'll get rid of it. So one of those just kind of quality of life things, I don't think everyone uses this, but it's kind of handy to have a place where you can just easily, hit the page and go directly to your watch list without having to log into your trading account or whatever, if that's where you're doing the majority of your charting. There will be a little mini calendar, a little showing of one of our YouTube shows, where you are in any of the courses that you're working on, so you can pick right back up where you left off. So really just kind of a what's up page, if you will. There's also going to be a variety of different trader tools in here. There's going to be a market skyline. This is where you're going to find all of the big stuff. So you're going to find the major indexes, the big top down stuff, right? So the S&P futures, Dow futures, NASDAQ, Russell futures, Bitcoin, the volatility, the emerging market, all world ETFs, the major commodities such as gold and silver and crude oil, et cetera, the sector spider ETFs, all part of what we're doing here each day and each week, as traders working that top down analysis. This is a really healthy part of a daily routine. It certainly doesn't have to be on this page. You can build it directly into your charting platform, but I do think it will make your trading better if you incorporate going through these things each day into your daily routine. We just wanted to have a place where it was just all kind of in one spot, right? Again, just kind of simplified a little bit. There's also a link to the FinViz heat maps here. This will just bring you to finviz.com to the heat map for the S&P 500 for today. Just kind of a different visual, right? The day that was pretty big green day in the market, right? For the most part, everything was on the positive. A lot of days lately, it's been just the opposite, right? I wouldn't want to try to build a trade off of just, hey, it's green or it's red, but it can help generate some ideas. I know some people really, really like to use the heat map. So that will bring you over to the finviz.com heat map, this little link right here. You'll find a news aggregator. This is just going to kind of go through some of those big financial sites such as CNBC, Wall Street Journal, The Times, kind of get their headlines all put in one location so I can easily just kind of scroll down. A headline catches my attention, I can go read it. Just really designed. It's not that I couldn't do this elsewhere directly on their sites, right? It's just designed to save some bouncing around, some clicking time, right? Just make it a little more streamlined. You'll find a link to the economic calendar so you can know what's on the docket for the day or for the week that could impact your trading. You'll find another link to our reports, which you'll also find on the drop down up here. We'll talk about here shortly. The compounding gains calculator, a chart if you ever need one, another link to our glossary, link to our search function if you need one. That's also this magnifying glass up here. The search function is pretty smart in my mind. So if you're ever looking for more information on a particular thing, say more information on covered calls, more information on moving averages, more information on naked puts, whatever it might be, you can always reach out and ask us. We're happy to help you out. But a lot of times the fastest way to do it is just do a quick search. There's a lot of content here and a lot of discussions on just about everything. So very easy to find it, I would hope. You also find another link to our trade journals in here. I'm going to smack this trade journals button here. You can access the trade journals like we just did, or on the drop down of the Trade Center. I prefer to come in the way we just did because it takes us directly to the tutorial page. If you need a little bit of help figuring out how to use that thing, there's no shame in that. This should be very, very helpful getting going with that. We have 3 different trade journals. We have the trade journal, kind of, exactly what you're kind of thinking, probably. We let it know what we did, when we did it, how much of it we did, right? What strategy we used, and then it's going to track the rest for us, right? Let us know how much, our average trade makes us, how much our average losing trade costs us, what this trade did, how long we were in this trade, how long on average we're in trades, right? All of that good information that we can use to make our trading better. We can say, hey, this is what's working for me. This is not so much. Let's make some targeted adjustments. Each trade we make is data if we allow it to be, right? We just have to have a place where it's organized and we can actually process that data. You're also going to find the data research tool where you can build and compare your cash flow strategies, right? Covered calls, credit spreads, things like that. Say, for example, you've got 4 candidates you're looking at tonight to do a bull put spread on, but you only want to do one. Well, how do we choose which one of the 4? You liked all 4, right? So how do we choose which one of the 4? Well, one way we can do that is kind of compare them straight up, right? Take a closer look. And that's exactly the type of thing that we can do in that theta tool for all of our different cash flow strategies. Fantastic tool if you're a cash flow trader for sure. And then lastly, the portfolio journal, just to kind of keep organized where you overall are, right? For some people, that's easier than others, just naturally. But some people, only have a handful of trades going on at any point in time. Other people have, dozens of trades, dozens of cash flow trades, their long-term stuff, their day trades, their swing trades. And so it's really important, of course, to stay organized, and that portfolio journal is designed to help you do that. If you come into the journals through the Trade Center like we just did, you can download them here, just select whichever one you need, and then you can just directly download it from that page. So that is the Trade Center. Let's kind of shift gears into that second phase, the things that you can do with others, basically the schedule, right? I'm going to start with the morning schedule. What does the average market morning look like here at Tackle Trading? Well, each market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we get together with the team in our Traders Lounge. For an hour, we'll just hang out and talk trading, answer questions, walk through things with folks if they need it. Really, it's just a place where traders can come together and bounce things around, get some help if they need it. Because, hey, sometimes we all have questions, right? Maybe you're really struggling with that bull put spread, and it would be really helpful to have somebody walk you through the process, kind of, hey, let's look at it, let's build it, let's get the order in, right? Go through the whole process. Maybe you've got a trade set up that you just wanted to see if you were kind of on an island, or if other folks kind of see the same thing in the chart that you do, right? Who knows what we'll need and what we'll want to talk about. It's really about what our team needs, right? That's going to be focused directly on our team each and every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're not going to regularly record the Traders Lounge because, let's be honest, no one's going to go watch one from a year ago, right? But we will record snippets and get them posted on this page from time to time. It can be another resource, or if you can't make it, have a question, you can let us know. We can kind of answer it, record it. It's not a huge deal for us to do that and get it posted in here. So that's every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Shortly after our lounge, we're going to head over to YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the Tackle Trading Halftime Report, live looking at the market, where we can work through that top-down analysis. What's going on in the markets today? How is it impacting our charts and the indexes? How do our commodities look? Sectors, stocks in the news, all of that fun stuff, staying on top of the gigantic story that is the market. That's live on our YouTube channel each market day at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's what every market hours day is going to look like, right? So the lounge here at Tackle Trading at 11, and the halftime report over on our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're also going to be meeting up with the team each throughout the week in the evening, where we can kind of take deeper dives into things. Starting with the coaches show on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We do our coaches show. A couple of the coaches come together and we just talk trading with our team. What's really cool about it is we can really kind of there's so much that we can talk about as traders, right? But we can really kind of get a focus. Hey, let's just talk about moving averages tonight. Hey, let's just talk about buying calls tonight. Hey, let's work through some of our reports and prep some potential trade ideas for the next going into tomorrow, right? It's really a fun way to be able to interact with our team and have deeper discussions with our team on these different subjects. That's live on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That one is recorded and archived. So if you can't make it live, if you want to rewatch it, if you want to watch an episode from 2 months ago on a subject that you find interesting, very easy to do there in the archives. On Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our Cash Flow Club. It's going to be a little bit more narrowly focused than the coaches show, as the name probably gives it away. It's all about cash flow there. So we're going to be talking a lot about building and managing those cash flow plays, such as credit spreads, condors, naked puts, covered calls, right? In that Cash Flow Club. I would say overall, we are big fans of cash flow trading as a community here. I think a lot of us incorporate at least some into our overall trading plan, and we want to have a place where we can really just be dedicated to that. So that's Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, just like the coaches show, recorded, archived. If you can't make it, we understand. We love to have you live, but we also understand schedules are schedules. really easy to catch up or watch previous episodes there in the archives. As I mentioned a little earlier, we have our different premium systems, the Tackle 25, Step System, Condors, Bear Market Survival Guide, and we get together once a month with members of these teams in a mastermind group. We invite all of our pro members to join us in those mastermind groups, regardless of whether or not they have picked up that system. So right now, for example, Coach Ty is doing the Step System mastermind group. All of our pro members are welcome to join him. All right. You do not have to have the system to come in and learn, listen, ask questions, whatever it is in any of those mastermind groups. Those are typically, not exclusively, not the same way that the coaches show is always Tuesday and the cash flow club is always Thursday, unless it's like Thanksgiving. So a little more flexibility in our mastermind groups, but as overwhelmingly, they are on Monday evenings. It is overwhelmingly when we meet up with members of these different teams in the mastermind groups. And again, all of our pro members are welcome to join us in all of those discussions. As I mentioned a little earlier in the blog segment, we have a tremendous team of female traders with us here at Tackle Trading. They'll get together about once a month in their Women in Trading mastermind group, where they'll just get together, and I don't know exactly what they do. I'm not a woman in trading and I don't get to go, but I suspect they're having a lot of fun and getting a lot of good work done. This past week, they had one. It tends to be once a month, and it seems like it generally tends to be towards the back end of the month. But again, that's kind of saying it from the outside looking in, right? I don't get to go, but I do know the team, and I know them. I know what kind of people they are, what kind of traders they are. And I would strongly encourage you, if you are a woman in trading, to keep your eyes open, and then we'll make sure that we let you know when we have the next one planned. And join the awesome ladies of Tackle Trading. A lot of fun to be had. And sorry, fellas, like myself, you'll have to find something else to do that day, but that is okay. On Wednesday nights, we do two different things here at Tackle Trading. Number one, here on our YouTube channel at 7 Eastern, we do our Trade Masters webinar, where two coaches will come in with 3 trade ideas: a Delta trade idea, a Theta trade idea, and a wild card, anything goes trade idea. And they'll bounce them off one another, members of our community in the chat. Our team will vote each round on whose idea they like the best. And at the end, somebody is declared the winner. It's a lot of fun. And what it's really designed for is to beef up that midweek watch list, right? There's never a bad way to find a trade idea, right? And talking through this stuff can be really helpful for all of us, right? No matter how long we've been doing this stuff. So it's just another way that we can share ideas with our community on Wednesday nights. Again, that's 7 p.m. Eastern right here on the YouTube channel for the Trade Masters webinar. And then shortly after that Trade Masters webinar, we're going to head back over here to Tackle Trading at 8:30 p.m. to do our Wednesday night Traders Lounge. It's pretty much going to be the same as the trading lounges in the morning, right? Some people are at work or have obligations. They can't get into that, that lounge at 11 a.m. Eastern. We want to make sure we have a place where they can come if they need some help, if they're having some questions. The only real difference is we're coming out of the Trade Masters webinar. So, if somebody has some questions, want to take a closer look at one of the ideas that we talked about in that Trade Masters webinar, we absolutely are happy to do that. So that's Wednesday, kind of a double header on Wednesdays, if you will, with the Trade Masters here on YouTube at 7 and 8:30 for our Wednesday night Traders Lounge. We do a lot of content each week, more than most people can keep up with. We don't expect you to be in everything that we're doing. We welcome you to. We certainly invite you. You're more than welcome to be in all of it. And I see plenty of our team members, every single show I get into. Yep, there you are. But, it's okay that you can't make it all, right? It's certainly perfectly fine. You have other things to do. We want to make sure that we have lots of content coming at our team, lots of live stuff each and every week, because, well, we're a community of traders and everybody's schedules and things and like that are different, right? So we want to make sure we have lots of options. In kind of an overly generalized nutshell, you can kind of think about it like this. The Traders Lounge is really for you, your questions, very specific. What do you need today? All right. What do you want to look at today? What do you want to talk about today? The halftime report is really about that daily routine, staying on top of the market, working through that top-down analysis. And then the evening shows are where we can kind of put the teacher's hat on a little bit more, go deeper in conversation on these subjects, walking through that process. And that is, overly generalized for sure, but maybe it'll help you kind of keep it organized as you get to know us a little bit better. And if you're ever kind of struggling with, what's going on now, when is it, where's the link, you can easily find that here in the events calendar. So that's going to kind of wrap up that second phase, things that you can do with others. Hope that gave you a better idea of, what and when these things are and how to find them. Let's lastly talk about the weekend report. So on Fridays, what we're doing as a team of coaches, as the market's winding down for the week, is we're getting together in what we call our scouting report meeting. We'll talk markets, we'll talk commodities, we'll talk sectors, we'll talk trade setups. And out of that scouting report meeting comes our tackle newsletter, our stock options and commodity reports that we get delivered to our team each Saturday, so they have plenty of time to get through them before the market's back up and running, right? Let's start with the tackle newsletter. This is, again, that first step in that 7-step guide. The first thing that we do here at Tackle Trading is we start at the top of the markets, right? Take that top-down approach. That's exactly what we're doing each week in the newsletter. Coach Gino does a great job making sure our team is on top and ready to rock and roll going into each and every week. So talk a little bit about the week that was, right? What happened? What were the big stories? What did it do to the charts? All of that fun stuff. Talk about sectors, right? Talk about the economic calendar when we're in the middle of earnings season. Talk a little bit about that as well. Of course, there will be a video kind of, walking through this stuff as well, where the broad indexes in the market we are, in our opinion, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, right? Take a look at the internal indicators. Going to look at over 8,000 stocks to kind of, when we're looking at these internals, to kind of see, hey, what does it look like when we kind of look under the hood a little bit, right? When you just look at, say, the Dow 30, you're just looking at some of the biggest name stocks in the world, right? When you look at the S&P 500, it's still only approximately 500 stocks, and the way it's weighted is, well, some of those stocks really, really matter, like the Amazons and Apples, right? They have a big impact on it. So we kind of want to take a closer look under the hood so we can talk about that. Each week, we're going to be ranking the sectors based off of what we're seeing. A couple of things here. Number one, we're going to use the sector spider ETF symbol to represent that particular sector. If you're not familiar with the sector spiders, you can find their charts right here. Basically, what they're going to do, XLE, for example, is the energy sector spider ETF, goes into the S&P 500, pulls out just the energy stocks, weights it accordingly, puts it in a portfolio, and we're getting an isolated look at the energy sector versus the utility sector versus the communications sector, right? If you want more information on how these are built, who's in them, how they're weighted, all of that fun stuff, I would suggest go straight to the source, go to the ETF website, right? The sector spiders is very easy. www.sectorspdr.com. There you can take a closer look directly from the ETF provider, and a lot of fun information over there if you're interested. So we're going to be using them to represent the sectors. Now, when we're ranking the sectors each week, the XLE or the XLY or whatever, it will be part of that for sure, but it is not how we're ranking it. We're ranking it based off of the stocks and what they look like that comprise these ETFs. So that's kind of how we're coming up with our rankings. We're going to represent our sector groupings in 3 different colors. You're going to have the growth side of the market. That's technology, discretionary, and communications. Then they're going to have the cyclical side. That's financials, industrials, basic materials, and energy. And then the defensive side, healthcare, staples, real estate, and utilities. Each week, based off of what we're seeing on the stocks that are within these sectors, we'll be adjusting, right? We'll move, increasing it, decreasing it, knocking it, however you want to word that. You can kind of see we're going to put it on a football field here as well. Between the 40s is neutral, maybe with a slight lean. Between the 20 and 40 is going to be slightly bullish or slightly bearish. Between the 20 and the goal line, bullish or bearish. It is extremely unlikely that you will ever see us put an entire sector or index or anything like that into plus or minus 3 territory, which would be the end zone. That's just more aggressive than we are. And quite honestly, that would mean literally there could be no outliers, right? Like not a single outlier. And that's rare, right? You might see it. You never say never, but I would say that it's unlikely you'll ever see us rank anything that aggressive. And in the event that you do, it will be a, a long conversation, I promise, on our end, and extremely rare. And again, we can kind of talk you through the thought process in the video portion as far as kind of why we came up with what we did this week. At the end of our meeting, we'll do our rapid fire segment. All of us coaches will just share our favorite setups going into the next week, kind of talk a little bit about them, both bulls and bears, a fun way to end the meeting and share ideas with our community. We are active over on Discord. Certainly invite you to come on over and join us there. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place to be able to interact with other traders, just have some fun, get some help if you need it. Very easy to do. In all of the newsletters, you'll find a link to easily join that Discord channel. I hope to see you over there. Little friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation, right? There's also going to be a pre-built scanner in here. So if a particular sector has caught your eye for whatever reason, maybe bullish, maybe bearish, maybe sideways, maybe it's just, really volatile, whatever the reason it caught your attention, very easy thing to do is very quickly come over and say, okay, well, I'm interested in, energy, right? Let's go take a closer look at some stocks within this space. This will bring you back to our friends over at FinViz. Just smack this charts button right here. I don't pay for them, so I have to click off some ads sometimes, but such is life, I suppose. This will bring us to a group of what I refer to as trader-friendly stocks. What I mean when I say that is they're very liquid, so it's super easy to trade shares. They're borrowable, so if I'm going short, not going to be a problem. They're optionable. Now, if you trade options, you know that just because a stock has options doesn't mean those options are particularly liquid and easy to trade, right? I would say as a whole that most of the things that you find in here are optional, fairly easy to trade with options. But I would also say that in every one of these scans, whatever sector it is, there are some stocks that personally I would never consider trading options on. And so that's kind of what I mean when I say trader friendly. But whether it's through equity or options, if I find something in here, I'm going to be able to trade it. And that's really what's important to me. As you can kind of see here, it's just going to give us some side-by-side charts, and I can kind of do a quick bird's eye view of, things. Well, hey, there's ConocoPhillips, right? We'll take a closer look at them probably later when we're talking about our scouting reports, but I can kind of see that it's got this resistance. Looks like it broke through that here today. Now, I wouldn't ever try to put together a trade on this tiny little chart, but I can see that that's interesting to me. I'll go take a closer look at it in my actual trading platform, right? So it's a very easy way to quickly scan through a lot of stocks, get that bird's eye view. Oh, this one's interesting. I want to go take a closer look at it. This one, not so much. I'm not interested in looking at it. Can be a great way to quickly look at a lot of stocks and get some ideas. Have that for, of course, each of the different sectors. Quick world watch at the end, as well as final thoughts going into the upcoming week. This is an important part of what we're doing because, again, we believe in that top-down analysis, that top-down approach to the markets, and that's exactly what we're doing here in that newsletter. In addition to that, Coach Mark does the commodity report for us, does a great job each week, kind of talk about what's going on in the world of commodities, right? Technically, thematically, fundamentally, what areas are standing out, whether it's for, bull, bear, cash flow opportunities. He'll, a lot of people, think commodities and they think futures, right? They think trading gold contracts or crude contracts or whatever. And that's one way that we could do it for sure. But there are going to be a lot of other things we can do through the ETF or the equities market to take advantage of these situations as well. Mark always makes sure to highlight some ideas in that regard as well. Does a great job keeping people up to date on the world of commodities. Our stock and options report are going to be built fairly similar to one another in the sense that each week we want to make sure we have an actionable technical watch list, right? Some technically clean bullish setups, some technically clean bearish setups. Whether you're trading stock or options, those are important, right? And so they're going to be built very similar to one another. in that regard. Now, where they're going to differ, in the stock report, these things are maybe the liquidity on the stock's great, but the option liquidity, not so much. Maybe it's a very, inexpensive stock, $7.42, and it just might make more sense to play it with equity, even though it has options. There might be different reasons it's, in the stock report. Over on the option side of things, of course, all of these are, at least in the opinion of all of the coaches here at Tackle Trading, perfectly reasonable things to trade with options. Liquidity is not an issue. Spreads are very workable. And so while it's never a bad idea to double check and get in the habit of, I'm going to trade this thing, let me go look at the option chain. I think that's a good habit to get into no matter what. If it's on the option report, all of us coaches here, we're comfortable trading it from that options point of view. The discussion is going to be a little different too, right? Over in the stock report, because we're looking at that from an equity point of view, going to be talking a little bit more about the processes and the patterns and entry signals and stop placement ideas and targeting and stuff like that, right? That stuff's every bit as important in the options trading for sure. But we're going to talk a little bit more about strategy selection, right? This might be a place where doing a poor boy call makes sense. This might be a place that you can't really buy. You're probably looking to sell because of the high IV, or hey, these call options are really cheap right now. It could be a cheap way to play it. So talk a little bit about the strategy selection side on the options report. As I mentioned a little bit ago, just want to make sure you have some good quality, clean technical patterns going into it, whether we're trading stock, options, both. We want to have good, clean watch lists every single week, both on the bull and the bear side. A couple things that you can do here. I'm going to come to our ConocoPhillips here since we looked at them in that scan. A couple things you can do here. You can hit this button right here. That'll just hide the watch list, so you have a little more chart to work with. Smack it again, and it'll bring that right on back to you. These are swing trading candidates, and so they're going to be defaulted to the daily time frame. But if I need to change my time frame, I want to take a look at the weekly chart. How's that look like on the weekly? Okay, it looks fine on the weekly. Maybe I want to go intraday for a potential stop location. Very easy. This little drop down here, you can change your time frame. Of course, defaulted to candlesticks because that's what most of us, it seems, use these days. But if for whatever reason you prefer the bar chart, it's very easy to switch that over. I'm not going to do that, but to each their own. If you want to add an indicator or two, very easy to do. Just smack the indicator button. Say I wanted to add the ATR here, add that guy, close that. I don't need the ATR to be this big and gobbling up that much space, so I can just hover my mouse over this little barrier between volume and the indicator, hold the left mouse button down. I can scrunch it up or down as I see fit. Be aware that these indicators aren't going to save. So before you add a whole bunch of indicators, close the page, come back later, just realize that they're not coming back with you. So do be aware of that. They are not going to save. You'll have your trend line tool right up in here, where you can either draw a trend line if applicable, or a horizontal level, which is definitely applicable in my opinion on ConocoPhillips right now. So just kind of draw your trend lines out there. Very easy to do. You can scroll your mouse wheel up or down to kind of maneuver the chart. You can hold the left mouse button down in the body of the chart and get her all set up the way you like, right? Because I don't know if you're like me, there's a chart supposed to look one way, right? We all have in our head that that's the right size. We don't agree on the size necessarily, but that's okay. We want it to look the way we want to. You can do the same thing over in the dollars. Hold the left mouse down and can scrunch up and down. So you can get this sized however, feels right for you. Lastly, you're going to have this right here is where you'll have your long or your short prep tool. So this is a breakout in the bull list. So I'm going to go into it, smack this, and I'm not going to get super specific, just going to kind of be general here. But just for argument's sake, I want to come in just over 110. Let's say that's where I want to come in, 110.03. Just smack that button there. And this is going to put me a 1-to-1 trade right out of the gates. So if I got in right there, it's telling me what my target would need to be, where my stop would be for a 1-to-1 risk to reward trade, right? Now, most swing traders, certainly me, and I would say that certainly everyone at Tackle Trading as well, we follow the 2-to-1 rule, right? For every dollar I'm risking, I want to have at least $2 in potential profits. So this wouldn't work, right? But I could kind of see, well, I didn't, probably not trading this if I think that's all that they have, right? If that's the only trade out there, at least. So maybe I got a target in mind of 120. All right, maybe I'm looking at this old range between about 90, about 110, 108, 109, in that range. That's about a $20 move. I'm conservative. I think we can get to 120 on this breakout, right? So that's kind of where I have my target. I actually like having a stop loss below today's low, and that lets me know right away that I've got a one for every $1 I'm risking, I have $2.34 in potential profits, right? So I can easily see that this fulfills my rule at least a 2-to-1 trade on the risk side of things. Now, maybe you say, Frank, 120 is too aggressive, right? I think 116 is about as far as you can go. Well, you'll look and say, well, I can either, maybe you don't follow the 2-to-1 rule, or maybe you do and say, well, I could do this trade, but I'd have to have my stop loss basically right here. Does that make sense? Am I comfortable with that? Maybe you prefer having your stop loss below this last little swing low, and you say, Frank, quit being a wimp. These guys, 120 is not that aggressive of a target. I think these guys can get to 130. It will let you know where it is. So it really just a very helpful visual tool. Of course, it's also a very helpful tool in determining that risk to reward, right? If I want to target these guys to 115, that's all I'm looking for, and I want to put my stop loss below today's low, I can easily see that that's just not going to work, not within the confines of my rules. I'm just going to have to pass, right? And at least I know that, right? So it's really, really handy little tool. Again, that's this guy right here. That will be for both the long and the short, depending on what you're trying to prep. We basically, regardless of what you're trading, whether you like to trade stock, whether you like to trade options, commodities, all of the above, whatever, we want to make sure that we're sharing ideas with our team each and every week. And that's exactly what we're doing in the stock, options, and commodity reports each and every week. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. Again, we'll get these delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, to have plenty of time to go through any or all of them before the market is back up and running. I will always say you start with a newsletter, regardless of what else. From there, I think it's okay to have a little bit of a priority system. If you're primarily an option trader, it's okay that you're going to do the options report before the stock report. That's fine. I would too in that scenario, right? If you're not trading options yet, hey, you can trade things in the option report with stock for sure, but maybe the stock report might be, kind of your top priority. Don't be afraid to prioritize a little bit. I will always say you start with the newsletter though, because, well, we always want to start with the top of the market, right? A couple of other things as we get wrapping up. The Tackle Today is our daily email. If you'd like to get signed up for it, just smack Tackle Today. Really easy to do. Get signed up for that. Quick thoughts going into each market day, as well as the lineup and the links for all of the stuff and the schedule for the day, just to make it a little easier on you. You can also read it here. It will be delivered to your inbox faster. But if you, for whatever reason, would prefer just to read it on this page, we'll get it posted on this page as well. We're active on all the different social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. So, if you're using these platforms, certainly invite you to come on over and join us. Being that we're on YouTube right now, certainly would appreciate, hitting that sub button and that notification bell. It really does help us out within the YouTube algorithm, and hopefully it helps you out as well to be alerted anytime we are going live or added a new video or anything along those lines. But if you're using any of these platforms, certainly invite you to come on over and join us with them. Don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. There's lots of different traders here at Tackle Trading. Some people pretty new, some people have been in the game a long time. Some people primarily trade cash flow. Some people are, primarily, directional traders, right? It's okay to build your own tackle trading. It's okay to have your priorities based off of, where you are in this process, what things you're trading, all of that fun stuff. As I said earlier, we're going to do a lot of content each week, and we welcome you to join it all. But we understand that there's only so much time in a day and in a week, right? So, build your own tackle trading is what I would say. Have your priorities. Yeah, they'll probably change. Someone who, if you've just been trading for 3 months right now, you probably use it a little different 3 years from now. But that's part of the process, right? A couple of other things. At the end of the trading week, you'll find the Huddle podcast. You can get to it just by smacking this link or on any of your favorite podcast providers. Just a quick efficient top 10 stories of the trading week. Just straight to the point, not anything beyond that, just to make sure you didn't miss anything big at the end of the trading week. Again, you can listen to it directly at that link or on any of your favorite podcast providers. Each week, Coach Matt, Coach Mark, and Coach Tim do the Trading Justice podcast as well. Fantastic long form podcast on the financial markets, always very informative, always a lot of fun as well. You can find that over at tradingjustice.com or again on any of your favorite podcast providers. I would very much encourage you to incorporate that into your weekly routine. It's a great listen. Some really good ideas will be discussed in there, and it's a lot of fun as well. And so that's just tradingjustice.com. They also do a really nice monthly newsletter over at tradingjustice.com as well, by the way, that's definitely worth checking out on a monthly basis as well. And of course, you'll see Coach Matt, Coach Mark, and Coach Tim here at Tackle Trading very, very regularly as well. If you're ever looking for anything, information on any of our products or anything like that, the store tab is a great place to start. But as I said a little earlier, never hesitate to reach out. Send us an email, team@tackletrading.com. If you need anything, if you're looking for something, if you can't find it, if you're struggling, if you need something, we're here for you. We got your back. Just reach out. And there's lots of ways to do that, whether it's emailing us, asking in the Traders Lounge, hitting me up on Discord, right? Whatever the case might be. Everybody here has the same goal. We all want to succeed in the markets, and we're all excited to see everyone else do the same, right? That's the cool thing about the market. We're all on the same team. And so everybody here, from the coaches to all of our awesome pro members, everybody here is always happy to help one another out. And that's what I love about Tackle Trading. It's fantastic being in a community of traders. So I don't have to drive people who don't trade crazy with I'm talking trading all the time and they want me to shut up. That's never the problem here at Tackle Trading. I always got people to talk trading with. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this gave you a better idea of who we are, what we're doing, where you can find it. I will, of course, be looking forward to seeing you in the different shows, be it here on YouTube, over in the different shows at Tackle Trading. But I appreciate everybody's time. Welcome to Tackle Trading. Have a wonderful rest of the week, both in and out of the market.